Alright, everybody, we are back to the Jelly Jam 2022 finals round now, featuring Team German Fish Freaks, Domskee, and HabKeineName versus Team Mike Cubed, Mikemike34 and Mrs. Mikemike. Before we get everything started, we've also got Real Critical and Rocket Pants on commentary for this round, and you'll see some points pre-marked for our runners. They've just taken the liberty to set up their parties appropriately, and they've just marked them ahead of time in terms of who they're bringing and what capsule monsters that they're going to be taking along. So at this point, Rocket and Real Critical want to take the couch, make any comments, and prepare to get things started. There are no last-minute shenanigans in terms of who all of the runners are going to be facing and all of the challenges that they're going to be coming out. No last-minute 10 points for this or that. Just so you know, this is a straight-up actual final match with the with regards to the rules of the run.
All right, so yeah, hello from me as well.
Yes.
I'm very critical.
Yeah, and hello, I am Rocket Pants.
So I suggest we start off with a countdown. You want to do the honors, Rocket?
Oh yeah, sure. Let's see. 3, 2, 1, and go.
Good luck, have fun.
Good luck, have fun.
Yeah. Good luck, have fun.
So,
To
I'm
introduce.
assuming we'll.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel very vindicated that they are in the finals without saying anything more about that. And the other team would be Mikemike and Mrs. Mikemike, who I at least suspect them of cheating because they have some kids who are good at this game.
Yeah, the entire family seems to be good at the game, so
Yes.
yeah.
All right, I got music coming through from Eli into the
Yeah.
commentator. Thank you, Eli.
So, yeah, the finals, finally. This is the 4th day of Jelly Jam. We have had
by now,
4 quarterfinals, 2
if people
semifinals,
have
as
questions,
usual.
put them in the chat.
And then the race for
We'll be very happy to answer any questions, but probably won't be going too deeply into the basics of the game during this commentary, unless we are extremely out of topics to cover, because we've been doing that for 4 weeks now.
Yep, it is a 2-hour run, so that might be happening. However, this being the finals, and both of these teams have had, having had adequate opportunity to, fine-tune their strats, maybe watch their opponent's strats and adjust for that. I'm really curious what we're gonna see.
Yeah. It's also like, will they be going for point incentives, or will they do like Michi and Hoppy did last round, where one person runs to the jelly and the other one picks up points? Or it will be interesting to see what path they choose. Both teams have been picking a lot of points in the initial rounds.
Yeah, so as a clarification for those watching the last round had an extra 10 points incentive for 2 of the Jellicle objectives. That is not the case anymore. So if you're looking at the tracker link right now, which you can do at any point with the !tracker chat command, every circle you see in there is going to be 1 point, and every 2 half circles is also going to be 1 point, if that makes any sense. So the team goals have to be gotten by both players in order to form 1 point. It does not count as a half point if only 1 half is achieved. Yeah, so no extra points this time. Every point is worth 1 point. Which means that I very much doubt we will see any jelly dashes in this round, and the team compositions really show that to me as well. So I've even seen Selen for HabKeineName, which I didn't expect.
So there are some point incentives for team composition and what capsule monsters you start with, and both teams have chosen to bring like Jelsa, Flash Blaze, and Gusto, which is the less used capsule monsters. The Mikes have chosen to bring Lexus, and I think that's about it. And of course we're seeing Selen, which is could be another point incentive, but I think both team members need to do the apron thing in order to get that. So we're probably not seeing that point unless things change.
We might, of course. So there's always the possibility that runners change a character later on in the run. We have seen that happen where like only for the Lexus point you have to keep Lexus in the party for the duration of the whole run, but you can switch out Tia and Selen later. So even if Domskee, I'm not 100% positive on his party, but even if he did not bring he or Selen now, he can switch the party up later and equip the apron. So.
And with the Providence being a point incentive, he can get pretty far in the cave and then Providence out, get that point, go back in, get some more points with switching up his team and so on.
Yep.
So early game, both teams have had a capsule monster defeat an enemy. So all players have had that. And we have also, if people are wondering about why the Mikes have a little more extra points, is because they've already marked off they have no more than one deadly weapon equipped across both team members.
Yep, which honestly, Domskee and HabKeineName probably have as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I wouldn't read too much into that little point difference.
And the other point, of course, is from Mikemike and Miss Mikemike actually bringing Lexus, whereas Domskee I just see has Tia and HabKeineName has brought Selen, so they can get the apron goal, which shouldn't be that hard to do.
Floor 10 is a very good floor if you want to look for aprons. Due to the cave's little quirkiness, and it basically all the things you can pick up in the early floors, like rings and shields, on floor 10 they stop and you get a lot of aprons instead. So that is why floor 10 is also referred to as the apron floor.
Yep, usually not a floor you want to open in, because there is a really high chance you're not getting anything good. But with this rule set, maybe someone can be persuaded otherwise. So so far, nothing too out of the ordinary. I see a few kills here for safety reasons. I'm seeing a Buffalo battle for Mikemike, which I can only assume is a Buffalo in the door. I have seen a Sizzle Sword for Domskee, which he's going to be happy about. It is a very strong weapon.
Yes, and it's also it's fire, so it can help you out with certain point incentives.
Oh, right, yeah. That's right, it's been a week since I've had my head wrapped around that, but yeah.
Yeah.
The infamous Torrent incentive. I have been dubbing this rule set Torrent Jam for, the reason that the Torrent basically gives you as much points as the Jelly Kill does if you execute it right and get lucky.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, and a high power ring for Domskee. That's nice. That's a really nice little ring drop. Another thing I want to mention is last run we saw several players use the deflect to mute to cast silence on Sphinxes. Because Sphinxes, one of the points incentives is to inflict a status effect on the Sphinxes, and they're immune to most status effects. So the deflect route is one easy way, but another one is to pick out a freeze ball and use that, which we've seen. HabKeineName just picked up a freeze ball a few floors ago.
Something that just comes to mind is that did both teams get into the finals with a tie? I think they did, right? So
Yeah.
Domskee and HabKeineName tied against Traffic Talks and Colliers with a last-minute jelly kill from HabKeineName. And, well, last minute is like 10 minutes over, but you know what I mean.
Yep.
And Mikemike and Mrs. Mikemike, who were they facing? Well, they had to have been facing... wow, it escapes me. The other team that we've just been competing for third place, Hoppy and Mitchie. There you go.
Yeah. See,
Oh, that was not a tie, though. That was not
No.
a tie. That was Team Mikemike crushing it. Okay, sorry.
But to mention something happening on Domskee's screen, he had a Mimic right on top of the stairs. He could have chosen to just lead that Mimic around the room and then get in there without having to take an engagement. But he chose to pull that engagement, which I think is because he's trying to get that red Mimic point incentive.
And actually, except for Miss Mikemike, everyone has gotten that objective so far. Oh, and there is a watering for Miss Mikemike, very nice.
So something to mention about like the elemental rings, the water rings, the ice rings, fire ring, thunder ring, all of these, is that they are really nice to like. They only drop for a certain like the early levels before floor 10, and they are extremely useful because first of all, you double the elemental damage of that type of spells. But also, if you don't pick up an early low cost MP cost spell, or if you are out of MP when you get to course, then the IP from those rings can really help you out taking out course, because they give you that low tier spell for free, basically, with the IP.
Yep.
And that's an Eagle Rock on someone. I see chat mentioning that Eagle Rock is, I think is it 2% chance of dropping from Eagles?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and it's a really nice early little agility booster, so...
Yep. And the type power, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a very nice early pick.
Yeah, they're gonna be happy to have that. Mikemike just now has been in an interesting treasure room that I think he wanted to turn into a little bit more of a challenge than actually present it. But yeah, he got out of there well enough, so it's probably one of the things where as a speedrunner you just think, okay, this isn't that bad, you know, let me play a bit more risky and it's gonna look weird afterwards, but yeah, he's got it.
Yeah. And for those who's not been in the community for a long time or haven't been like involved with these tournaments we've been running, Mikemike had a really good show-off in a Fatal Blowout tournament this last year, where there's a glitch. If you die on the floors, then you get to the next floor, but you are level 1 and you lose all your stuff. And Mikemike did that, and he still managed to run, I think, over 10 floors at least and get to the jelly with
it was a lot of
Tira
floors.
equipment. Yeah, it was really great. So Mikemike is really good at movement strats, and you know he's really good, capable at a lot of stuff in cave.
Yeah, and while you say that, he is on a mission to activate the most red mimics he possibly can so far.
Yeah.
So, which of course is fine. He's got it under control. He hasn't encountered any one of them, I don't think.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yep. HabKeineName picked up a Deadly Rod, which is very
nice.
good for him. That is a very lovely pickup to get early, because it gives you so many options for planning and so on.
And he did not get any course, but he's at an alrightish level, I would say. Getting into this wispy fight here, which is a bit sketchy because if there's a lot of them, then yeah. You gotta
Yes,
take
Blizzard,
advantage
so,
on dying there, which is a bit unfortunate because she is a strong spellcaster.
Yep. Blizzard will one-shot these Wispies. They are weak to ice, so that's really nice.
Yeah, so if you take a look at the !tracker command, post it in chat so you don't have to, you will see that there is goals for each set of 10 floors. Each of those floor sets has a single goal, as in the goal that each runner can get, and then a team goal, as in the goal that both runners have to get the point. And the Wispy goal is the single goal for floor 11 to 20. Which I do consider to be one of the more challenging goals, simply for the reason that you probably want an ice spell to do it, which isn't free to get. You probably want to be a reasonably high level to tackle it.
Yeah, you're not gonna have the agility to outrun them or be faster than probably. So you're gonna have to be high enough level that you can like tank their damage. And you want like either Blizzard or some kind of ice spell, or you want the X Boomer, because that can also one-shot them.
Yep. And actually, both Mikemike and Mrs. Mikemike have found a B-Rock.
Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's one of those rocks you don't really see a lot in the cave, but it has plus 20 to agility, so it's really nice.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to be happy to have it. It is a not very common drop from chests, and finding one each is going to be really good for their team, no questions asked. So Mikemike right now is killing a bunch of red cores there, which are nice experience providers. Domskee has gotten some as well.
Yeah, it would be... basically, when you get to cores, you really want to have some kind of spell attack. The red cores only have 10 HP, so they're gonna... you don't need to hurt them a lot, but at low levels you're probably gonna miss them. So you want, but the spells like are guaranteed to hit, and they will kill them. So you want that something, and you also want something that isn't too MP intensive, because early on MP is a little bit tight in this game.
Yeah. So on both Domskee's and HabKeineName screen, we're seeing Woodworms and, well, more importantly, Newborgs. So Newborgs, I'm assuming that's the reason why they're fighting them, drop an item called Sour Cider, and that would be the 11 to 20 team goal. Well, is to get 2 Sour Ciders and already have 2 charred mutes in your inventory, to be more precise. Mikemike seems to be going for the same thing. I know he does like that goal. Whether any of the players will actually get that goal, I'm not holding my breath, just put it that way. It is a possibility.
I mean, if nothing else, at least they can get to see the greatest attack of all time. Or at least the attack with the greatest name of all time in the cave.
Yeah, which one would that be?
That will be the one called Mokujinken.
That's what I thought. It has been topic of debate.
Yes. There is definitely no one in our community who is absolutely obsessed with that. Oh, a nice apron shield pickup for Mrs. Mikemike. Now, apron shield is called an apron shield, but it has nothing to do with aprons. It's supposed to be a polo shield, but mistranslations and so on, they turned it into apron shield, but it's a really good shield which can tank a lot of damage for you.
Yeah, unlike the apron, which is one of the weakest armors, apron shield is one of the strongest shields. So it has a bit of a deceiving name.
Okay, now HabKeineName has picked up 2 deadly rods and 1 fatal pick at least. So I think he's good on the deadlies. It's often with the cave that when it rains it pours. don't
Yeah,
find an.
speaking of which,
There are some items you really want to find, but you don't for a long time, and then when you get them, you tend to get a lot of them.
hmm
It's of course just coincidence and RNG being RNG, but it's one of the many quirks you might experience if you're a little bit superstitious and get into this game.
yeah. Yeah, so Mike has the same quote-unquote problem with red cores. He has been able to pick up a lot of them.
Right?
I'm not sure how many actually stayed for him, but I'm gonna say it was at least 3, 4,
Right.
something like that. Someone probably paid closer attention than I did, but he's gonna be happy in any case.
Yeah, that is a very good early XP. As for the cores, the general strategy. Words? Difficult. The general strategy for cores in the cave is that you want them. That's it. Getting red cores is gonna keep you safe for a long time. Getting blue cores is good. You want it, but it's not gonna kill you outright if you don't get them. But if you don't get neither blue or green cores, you're gonna struggle at ninjas. If you can't get XP some other way. And then of course
Or
there
agility
are
some other way.
yeah, and of course there's the no cores, which are also like the topping on the cake. Very nice to get, but it's not gonna kill you run outright if you don't get them.
Yeah. So, HabKeineName just managed to pick up a secret fruit from a woodworm,
Ooh.
which is, like I said, I was assuming that they were farming the Newborgs for the Sire Cider, but maybe that was the plan all along, and getting fruit was the big idea, I'm not sure. But in any case, that allows them to feed Fumi, aka gels, to M-form, which if Domskee does the same thing, that would be an additional point for them.
Right. Now there is a point incentive for earning a fruit from a battle, but the Newborgs aren't on the floors for that.
Yep.
That incentive applies to floor 21 to 30. And Newborgs, the last floor, you can find them on this floor 19.
Yeah, and we're seeing quite a genocide on Newborgs here. HabKeineName and Domskee seem to be quite determined to get rid of all of them. It is not usual to see that many Newborgs in a year, probably.
No, they
Never
are
mind
not.
a single race.
Yeah, they're not the enemy you normally see people fight because they're really easy to avoid and they're really annoying to fight because they have a high defense and so on.
Yeah.
And just
Resistances.
yeah, they're just not something you're happy about in a regular run. But of course, there you have an incentive to kill them. So.
Yeah, there HabKeineName gets the engagement ring, or the engage ring, more precisely. And he did bring Selen, which means he actually gets to equip it. He's still not gonna be too happy about that because the item is not that great. Spoilers. And you would have been happy pretty much finding anything else in the blue chest other than an earring.
Yes.
But you can at least feed it.
And HabKeineName also picked up a healing in the form of champion, which is a very nice healing spell. One of the most powerful ones, or the most powerful one that doesn't revive your characters as well.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be good to have, especially early on. You know, you have your healing, your cheap healing in the back pocket, and yeah.
Well, of course, if good runners go for RC healing strats.
I mean, yeah, sure. Now there is Destroy as well.
Right. It's good for the insta-kill in so many different ways.
Yeah, if you have to use it. I mean, he has deadlies, which means the only thing that tells him is probably that he doesn't need to equip a deadly sword. But yeah, you're gonna be happy to have it, as you say, in certain situations.
Right. It's always, and especially when you have the incentive of only equipping one deadly across both players on your team.
Mhm.
Having destroy is very nice for those battles where you're like, well, maybe I should equip another deadly because this is a massive pain to be fighting.
Yeah, and you don't want to be equipping deadlies because they're cursed, just for completeness sake.
Right.
Since I've been talking about the great Newborg killing of 2022, Team Domskee and HabKeineName has actually managed to collect 2 sour ciders and 2 charred newts across their team. So yeah, very nice. That is a point for them. So we are looking at 11 to 11 right now.
Yeah, and Mikemikes are currently going for the same point incentive. So yeah, I think this tournament has like encouraged going very heavily for the point incentives. So we're seeing a lot of interesting things in the game which we normally wouldn't be looking at. Like for instance, the Torrent, which we're now seeing on Domskee.
Hopefully soon. Yeah, a few races have shown that the 5.88% appearance rate of them is enough to spend multiple minutes there and still not end up getting the point. So
just to cover that incentive, because it's a kind of interesting, because in that battle you can earn so many points because you have the incentive of fighting a torrent or getting a torrent. That is an incentive. There's an incentive for fighting an enemy that normally doesn't appear in the cave, aka the torrent. You have the incentive for killing an enemy who's the fire elemental attack, and then you have because the green clay, which also appears in that battle, who summons the torrents, are weak to thunder. So if you have a thunder attack of some kind, you can also get the incentive for hitting an enemy who is weak to thunder element with a thunder element.
Yep. And then, of course, I think we're dropping frames again, are we? Or is that just me?
No, I think we're both.
Well, then I'm not gonna talk.
Ah.
No one's gonna listen. So, on top of that, because you have to find a sandworm to see a green clay, there is a chance to get a fruit drop from them, which is the earth fruit, with a chance of 10%, as well as the breeze fruit chance of 5% from a green clay. So if you get either one of those two, you are getting the floor goal, the single floor goal for floor 21 to 30, which would be another point. And of course, on top of that, if you actually do feed a capsule to M form, and both players on the team do that, then you even get the feed a capsule monster to M form team goal from it. So you're setting yourself up for a total of 5 points, or well, 5 objectives, I will say, for a total of, I don't even know how many points. A lot of them in any case. More than 5.
And it really isn't a difficult incentive to get into. Like if you have the things you need for like getting these things, then setting up the fight with the green clay and the sandgorm isn't that hard because they're not super strong enemies. They're not gonna tear you apart. And you can kill everything except green clay, and just wait and hope they don't spend eternity not summoning a torrent.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, so that is why in the beginning I said, or well, you know, all this together is why I said in the beginning that this is kind of torrent jam. Because, yeah, this is kind of a central point, I feel, that you cannot afford to skip. Unless, of course, you're lucky enough and the other team also skips it, but, yeah. Yeah, and as is mentioned in chat right now, there have been some runners who have not been getting too lucky with it. I feel that, Rocket, both of us were kind of getting it really early, right? Like on the first couple of turns for both of us.
Yeah, I got it, I think, on yeah, as soon as it could summon it, I got it. And I've been
Nice.
getting it pretty consistently in practice as well.
Nice.
Had a couple of rounds in practice where it's been like round after round after round after round until they punch me and I have no heals, but generally they're being pretty good about it.
Yeah, that is the kind of stuff you have to deal with, I guess, and or that these runners have to deal with. Yeah, it's worth it though, I think. So if you can at all, you know, you have to consider stuff like your healing situation and whatnot. So if you have champion or another good healing spell, then you're good.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, there's a Silva for Domskee now. Very nice.
Yeah, and I think he can get the 100% back attack on that evil fish on the bottom door.
I have not seen it yet, but I'll take your word for it. Yeah, if there is a bottom door, then you can.
Yes, there is one. The top door, you can't get it because the door is too far to the left. But,
and he sets it up perfectly. You want to be one tile behind it. Very nice.
That is one of the setups, movement setups, which is, it seems very complicated, but once someone takes the time to actually explain it to you or you look up the resources, it's not that tough. And even I managed to learn it after some guidance and some swearing and some walking into bushes and getting myself back to tech. So I would say anyone who's interested in this game can learn.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't say that you're particularly challenged about that, but everything else I can agree with. Especially the swearing part might just be a personal opinion, but I think that's an elemental component of the learning process.
Yes, that is very, very important.
Yeah. So the two Sarsiders, two Chardnewt's goal has actually been got by Team Mikemike and Miss Mikemike as well.
Right.
So, yeah, very nice.
And there we have the Torrents. Excellent.
The first one, I believe, that we're seeing. I think Domskee was trying to go for them, but did not find one.
Yeah,
I'm looking at Mikemike's HP. Not too happy about that, but he should be fine, I guess.
Yeah, I think Domskee changed his mind. Oh, a flame fruit for Domskee. That is that incentive at least. The fruit incentive. Nice.
He did go for the 50-50 with the pugs, which I definitely agree with in his situation there. There is also a 100% back attack setup for those guys, but I mean, they were right there, and due to the way that a room was structured, getting the 100% would have been a bit difficult, so yeah. It worked out for him in any case, so very nice.
I haven't checked. Does Mikemike have a fire attack?
Apparently, because he did mark the points, so I'm just gonna assume he knew what he was doing. So yeah, that is a bit of a point swing. He didn't get a fruit drop though, but he did get the encounter a Torrent, defeating him with a fire elemental attack, and defeat an enemy that doesn't normally appear in an encounter. Cool.
Yes, and he still has time to get that fruit drop from both evil fish or pugs.
And there's a Deca Blade for Mrs. Mikemike.
Ooh, that is exciting. For anyone who, well, I said I wouldn't explain too much of the basics, but yeah, the Deca Blade is something that should be covered. It's very vital to the cave run because it does do the IP attack. The fractional is a fractional which does half of the jelly's health, which when you have 3 turns to kill something, you want to do as much damage as possible in the shortest amount of time as possible. So a Deca Blade is very vital to a kill. You can get a kill without it, but it does help a lot.
Yep, definitely. While you were explaining that, I couldn't help but to only pay half attention while HabKeineName was almost being torn to shreds by evil fish. Very comfortably taking them on, or possibly overly confidently taking them on at level 11 to 13. Those guys do hit pretty hard. If you don't get to 50-50, then yeah, it can be really threatening. and there was only 3 of them, which might have saved him. But yeah, Decker managed to tank their attacks and beat the last one before they beat him. So again, agility is the most important stat in the cave. HP probably the second most important, or well, pretty decisively the second most important, and it's anyone's guess which is after that. But those are the stats people are really looking for when speedrun this game.
Yep.
And I will only say I do not like 50-50 squids. It's not a good idea, or evil fish in particular.
You could get the 100% on that one. The other
Yeah, it
enemies
would
that
take a
won't
bit
be
of
hit,
setup, yeah.
but they
Yeah.
could. We'll see if he chooses to do that.
So
Of course, Blaze, the armored dog needs.
Yeah.
And since
so many good drops.
so many are running with it, then it's quite nice.
Yeah. So Mike just found Shield and Trick. Domskee just found Thunder. Yeah, a couple of really good items here, both in terms of points and the Jellykill setup, which runners are probably gonna always have in the back of their heads, even if it's only force of habit.
And we see Mrs. Mikemike is up against the green place, and she has bolt, so she can get that thunder element to an enemy that is weak to it incentive if she chooses.
They actually already have that point.
Oh, well.
So both players have already gotten that.
Oh. I'm not playing. Too fast
cool.
for me. I'm a little bit
There is
obsessed
a
with
reason
that point
there's-
because I keep forgetting about it.
No. There's a reason there's 2 people in commentary, I'm sure you're gonna pick up a lot of things that I'll be missing.
See Domskee feeding Blaze. That would be the evolve a level 1 capture monster to form 2, 21 to 30 floors incentive.
Yeah. They have been going for that in previous rounds. That is a team goal, which means if Domskee wants to profit from that goal, then HabKeineName will also have to feed. And HabKeineName, seeing a blue mimic here, he only has 1 or 2 floors to do that. So
Yeah. Luckily, that isn't the blue mimic in front of the door. Is in front of the door. He does not need to go through, because that could really hurt you.
yeah,
I mean, there is a general point incentive, which is to defeat the blue mimic and finish the battle, but at his levels, I would not be going for that.
yeah. Somehow not a lot of runners have attempted that. I wonder why. Yeah.
See. Hi, Mrs. Mikemike still dealing with the green play. I didn't see a torrent summon so far. I don't think there has been one. Hopefully it behaves. No, okay, then I hope the green play behaves and just calls his tree friend.
Yep, so HabKeineName has managed to evolve Blaze form 2. It looks like Domskee is about to do that as well.
That was a
And-
very good feeding from HabKeineName, I would say. To the point
And
where I
HabKeineName-
know feeding.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure it was good enough in any case, right?
It was fast and quite efficient, so. Good.
Yeah, notably, Domskee entered the feeding screen earlier and is still on the feeding point of things. So that, of course, can mean that he has had the diverse set of items, or maybe didn't want to feed everything good away. I'm not sure, I didn't pay attention. But either way, I mean, both of them got it done reasonably quickly. You do have the full 2 hours to collect your points, so yeah, that's fine. I'm also seeing Mikemike feeding his Capsule Evolution 2 here, so I'm assuming they're going for the same goal. This obviously would be something that members of a team would be discussing, right? Are we going to do that? Are we not going to do that? Because you're not guaranteed to have the amount of items to feed. However, what I was trying to get at is that Mikemike actually switched to Flash. Oh, and there is a deck place for Domskee, very nice. Mikemike actually switched to Flash, as in the Capsule he does not intend to use. So that the Capsule he does intend to use, I'm just assuming that's what's happening here, which is Blaze, which he's going to level up throughout the entirety of the run, will still be available for him at the Jelly and to be able to feed in the 90s floors should he get there for another point. So, yeah.
There is an incentive to feed a capsule from form 1 to the 4th form in one go in the 90s, and of course if you don't switch, then you can't do that. It's already on form 2.
And there's the Torrent now for Mrs. Mikemike, so I'm seeing there's no fire elemental spells.
Yeah, no. No fire. Does she have a... Is she...
Here's Blaze.
Blaze or a fire knife? Fire dagger, I mean, or something like that maybe? Fireball? The item?
So,
Could do
you
it.
basically have to wait for Blaze to do Tail, which is the only attack that reasonably does damage to Torrent. So that deals 84 damage. I think they have around 200 HP, maybe 180 or something like that. Maybe 2 Tails kill it. And now, of course, Blaze is running away, or got killed. So what this means is she will escape from this battle now. You will see there is still a Sandgorm on the world map, but the encounter will be the same as the way you escape from it, meaning there will only be a Torrent in it, even though the encounter sprite has a Sandgorm on it. So she's good on that. She is in the middle of a treasure room, which means those snakes might eventually catch up with her, which she does not want, but yeah. This is fine for the time being.
She could hit it with someone who doesn't kill it, and then hope Blaze can finish it off. Or she seems to be doing.
Going for,
yeah. Okay.
I did not see the damage numbers.
No.
So it's a bit of a mystery.
Yeah, and there's a tail.
Oh, very nice. There you go.
Oh,
that's
nice.
The
Very good. Very
the
good.
2 points, I mean, yeah. So, yep. 4 of these points here are exclusively from killing Torrents. They do require a bit of setup time, so it is a bit of a commitment. But, yeah.
That is also why you would discuss stuff like feeding your capsule monster with your teammate, because it is it's a team goal, and it's also extremely time consuming. So you might not, if you don't have the stuff to do it, then doing it still on a regular any percent run, but for all these point incentives, they stack up, and then 2 hours is not that much.
Yep. And as Sinister has been mentioning in chat, we're 40 minutes in already, right? So this is 1/3 of the entire tournament's time. And we still are sticking around the 20 floors, so... Yeah. That is a bit of a commitment. It probably means there won't necessarily be too much focus on the jelly kill. However, I mean, I'm seeing Domskee and Mrs. Mikemike with a Decablade. I'm seeing a lot of good jelly items for Mikemike. He just picked up a Curse Lifter in the last couple of minutes. So, at one point, runners might be incentivized to, maybe go for the jelly kill after all, which is like between 2 and 5 points, I would say. It's worth a bit more for Team Mikemike because with no time pressure whatsoever, they will get the extra Alexis point if they kill the jelly. A bit of an unfortunate move here for Mikemike.
Yeah, that is a dangerous battle to get into.
Oh, 2 characters getting picked off by 1 parish.
Oi, that is that is not good.
Terrible.
That is...
Okay, so forget what I said about Mikemike being incentivized to go for the jelly kill. That was betrayal. Oh,
was-
he's not gonna be happy about that.
Yeah, that it was the cave going no, in a big way. I didn't
That
see
is
how
really
Ian.
unfortunate.
Yeah, I didn't see how the engagement happened, so I don't know if he got like surprised or back attacked, or like if he got the back attack or if he got back attacked. But that was that is not good. Teleporters can really mess you up if you're not confident in your movement. Well, Mike should be confident. He's one of the best movement threats in this game.
It's just the kind of enemy that you're not always having a radar, and teleporters are known to confuse a lot of runners, especially when you're trying to go fast and have other things in your mind.
And in a tournament setting where you get a little bit nervous and trying to think of all these other things, point incentives and so on, then it's really easy to like make a little mistake and whoops, hey, the cave does punish that.
Yeah, so Eli has been asking what the chances of Parrish killing 2 people there was. So for a 25% chance skill, wait, there you go. We're looking at there was 4 targets, so a 2.06% chance. Yep, Eli looked it up by himself by now. So yeah, GG Mike. You got really lucky.
Yeah, HabKeineName just got the surprise attack. No, he got surprise attacked by assassins. That is the opposite of the.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
That's
the
not the
opposite
goal.
of. No, that's the opposite of the point incentive where you're supposed to surprise them. And he did also not survive the incident attack, so that isn't that point incentive either.
Oh, wow.
Which is unfortunate. That is.
Yeah.
That is the cave being mean.
Yeah, I think this is the one floor or set of floors where the rule set is actually asking the runner to do something favorable, right? You are supposed to get the first strike on the enemy, and you are supposed to survive an instant death attack, where in other goals we're seeing mostly detrimental goals like survive a round against an orky or get surprised by a ghost ship.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right,
Probably
so,
for that reason.
So, question strat for you. Let's say you're neck and neck with the team you're against, 1 point difference, and they get the jewel drop in the 41 to 50 floors, and you don't. Do you go for the jelly, or do you still try to slowly pick up points, knowing that that means you won't be able to make it to the jelly?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, this whole rule set, I feel if you're playing it optimally, you're not going for the jelly kill at all. However, me personally, I like to go for I like to try and make a jelly kill happen. Even if it's not optimal, right? So it might still be optimal because it's a lot easier, in my mind, to do something that's closer to what we're used from speedrunning. But yeah, I think I would still go for the jelly kill, simply based on like if I could make it with a jelly kill, let's put it that way. If there was a reasonable chance I would get the jelly kill and so on and so forth, probably the jelly kill.
Let's say you had
especially
it
because I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Then.
Probably. So I have the feeling that due to the nature of the speedrunning community, right, where basically every single category is about killing the jelly. Oh, there's a nasty room for Domskee.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah. I think a lot of people would think the same way, and just trying to get a jelly kill is gonna be what they're gunning for.
Oh, that
even
is
if there is a more optimal.
also a very nasty conga line in front of that door for Mrs. Mikemike. I hope she doesn't.
Oh, the
she
bees.
doesn't. No,
No, she
yeah,
doesn't
there
do
were. She doesn't have to go there, thank God.
There was a bit of gatekeeping going on there, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so in these floors, getting the surprise attack on the assassins. And seeing, like, with assassin movement patterns, it's a little bit tricky to get that if you're in a room with them, but if you get them on the other side of a doorway, then you can get that surprise attack. At least a 50-50 chance of it, quite easily. There are, of course, people who are a lot better than me at movement strats, and they can get them in the rooms as well, like Domskee now. Very nice.
He's playing as well.
Yeah. So that is definitely something worth learning, like how they move and what you need to do, like take the engagement step and then slash your sword and get that 50-50 chance.
Yeah, I like the kind of goals that encourage you learning something that you might need in the speedrun at one point, right? And I mean, obviously, ninja and assassin movement is very elemental for anyone to pick up if they're trying to run the game. So yeah, as Eli mentioned in chat, Mikemike is already at red course after just a couple of minutes of getting back in here. So the reason for that is probably that all his early goals are or have already been gotten, right? Actually, both teams have gotten the entire floor 1 to 20 goals.
Yeah.
Single goals, team goals, everything. So there is nothing for Mikemike to do on the early floors. He can just do his regular any percent stuff until he's back at a couple of floors where he can get points, and from there decide whether he actually wants to get points or maybe keep going with any percent.
Okay.
By which I mean trying to go for the jelly as fast as possible. Which I don't think he will do, but yeah.
And Domskee is up versus the Shadows, which has one of the insta-death attacks, which is like surviving an insta-death attack is a point incentive. And those Shadows have the insta-death attack on those floors with the least chance of hitting you, as far as I've understood. So that is why...
Which does not help Domskee.
No, as we have seen, the odds.
Yeah.
The odds are kind of like just a guideline. It's not really strict rules.
I mean, or so some people say, I cannot quite agree.
No.
However, Shadows in particular, what they're actually casting is Perish. It's just a rename of the same effect. So it does have a 25% chance to kill, which is really low compared to, I believe, the 60% of assassins. Maybe it's 80%, I'm not entirely sure. However, it's a lot less than that with Vile Laughter. And yeah, these guys have been really trollish in both the last Jelly Jam and this one. It's really quite incredible because they are also able to call in other shadows. They punch reasonably hard, so yeah.
And we see the difference in like the RNG makes HabKeineName got it right away. First thing the shadow do was Vile Laughter and miss, and then while Domskee is forced to defend and wait and defend and wait.
And yeah, just to be clear,
excellent.
Nice. Yeah, there's nothing you can do about that. So you just have to sit there and wait. Same thing with the Torrent. It's just bad luck.
Ooh, did someone pick up figure?
It looks like it. So that would be important for the defeated group of 3 or more enemies with a physical attack.
It's one of those. It's one of those items where having Lexus is very good because otherwise it's only the launcher that will help let you do that. While Lexus has some more options, and but you want to get that as early as possible because later on it's going to be a pain to like line up the damage, so that can kill them.
Yeah, and he already has gotten that incentive. Meaning he only has to wait for his Mikemike to do the same, perhaps. So, yep. Very nice.
Very good.
I have no doubts that Mikemike is going to be back in the race in terms of being on the same kind of floors that everyone else is, roughly speaking anyway. Because he does definitely know how to get through there very fast. However, in the meantime, of course, the time he needs to get back down there, it's time that the other team, in particular, having both runners still deep down in the cave, can use to get additional points. So that death will definitely, no matter how you look at it, gonna cost him. At this point, though, they're still 5 points ahead. So, and we still have over half of the round to go.
We see Domskee dealing with. I'm not quite sure what he's doing in this room, but he's dealing with a samurai movement pattern. And that is a really interesting movement pattern. For a long time, people were, at least, of course, there are some who've always known it, but as far as I understood, people were thinking it was random, and then someone was like, well, it's not entirely random. They move towards you, and then they move in a random direction, and then they move towards you in a random direction every second step. So you can kind of sneak past them in like tight hallways if you know what step they are on, and if you get a little bit lucky with the random movement step.
Yeah. So I actually do have an idea of what Domskee was doing in that room, which is farming bone gorms for the spell potion, which is something I haven't seen in this race so far and hadn't thought about myself until I just saw it. So yeah, spell potion would be important to get the full bars for everyone incentive, and if you don't find it in a chest, then you might as well try and kill off a bone gorm for it. Very interesting. I did not think of that. Hats off for Domskee.
Yeah, I was only dimly aware that it was a drop from an enemy at all. I would never have thought of farming that.
Yeah, same here.
But
very nice play from Domskee again.
They have yes, thunder, and bone gorms are bone gorms weak to thunder?
I believe they are. I'm not sure.
Yeah, they are. Okay, so yeah, that would also be that point in some.
Very nice. Yeah, so actually all 4 players have gotten that thunder elemental based point objective. So that one we can cross off the list of things to look for.
Nice.
What else has happened? We're looking at 17 to 22 right now. We have completed, or Team Domskee and HabKeineName have completed the apron and entering a combat goal. So they have effectively equalized bringing Lexus, by bringing Tia and Selen. So whether that is equal footing is up to you to decide. And as especially you Rocket mentioned earlier, there is a lot of benefits from bringing Lexus here. So yeah. At least in terms of points, though, they're currently on the same level. We're seeing a bunch of uncompleted team goals on both sides. By a bunch of, I mean 3 that I can see right now.
Yeah, we're having the HabKeineName has not gotten a fruit from a battle, and so has Mikemike also hasn't gotten that, but he could get it now. He's on the floors for it. But otherwise, they're pretty like good at filling out all the points as they go. Both teams are now.
Yep, so we see Mrs. Mikemike is on floor 34, so almost at the session floors, which appear from 37 to 39, which is probably the reason why she hasn't gotten a surprise attack on Assassin. Mikemike, of course, has never been to those floors so far, but he's at floor 26 to 27 right now, so he's making really quick pace and catching up, so that is very good. If I was him, I wouldn't go for that fruit drop either. So, yeah. What are you gonna say?
No, I was just mentioning that HabKeineName is in a somewhat tricky hallway to get to the stairs. He had a snake and now he has a plant. But he should be fine because he's quite fast compared to plants.
Yeah, so everyone else, well, except for Mikemike now, they died. So everyone else get agility drops though. So Domskee has the Silver Eye, Miss Mikemike has the B-Rock, both get you plus 20 agility. I'm not sure if HabKeineName has anything. Oh, and Domskee also has the Eagle Rock, so... Yep.
HabKeineName going for Brin's Lizards, hoping for that twist drop. Oh, and an Iris Jewel for Domskee. That's our first Iris item as far as I'm aware. Oh, second iron.
Second, okay, wow. I missed both of them, so. Oh, there was a blue mimic in the door for Mike.
Yeah.
So he does not have to go there, otherwise.
I think he should be fine that he can go. Yeah, and there's the stairs, so he's fine.
Yes.
Oh, no twist.
Yeah, so he's already on floor 30, which means he did catch up with the other ones, at least in terms of which set of floors they're on. Domskee gets a very nice setup there for the assassin in the room, so he basically just has to take one more step to the right.
Yeah, he already did that, didn't he? Yeah, he
Yeah,
did.
possibly.
Yeah, he already did that, so he's good. But of course, it never hurts to surprise an assassin. Whether you need it for the point or not.
Oh, it said
they're
assassin,
ninjas.
but it's ninja.
Ninjas.
Okay. Yep.
Right. Excellent. Right.
I am
So,
still go ahead.
what would you call the German fish freaks if you put a bow tie on them? Sophisticated. Yeah.
You
I'm
tell
very
me.
sorry.
Hearing this from you, as a, I would say not too pun savvy, or not savvy, but not too impressed by puns person.
Not too fond of puns.
Yeah, there you go. Is a
Yeah.
bit concerning.
Yeah, this is what happens when you spend too much time on the internet. You become,
I see.
you become obsessed with very bad jokes.
I see. Is this the point where we plug the Ancient Cave Discord, by the way?
Yes, I think this is. We don't do these kinds of jokes in the Ancient Cave unless you really want to, because then you can always send me a message and I will do all my dad jokes. But the Ancient Cave Discord is a very good place if you want to learn the game, if you want to hang out. It's a good community. Extremely nerdy, so if you're into number crunching or just nerding out, it's the place for you. And just generally good time. So join us and hang out and join our tournaments. We have at least 2 of them per year, and they're very good and very open for new runners.
Yep. The chat seems to catch on the pun theme, which I personally like, so.
Ooh. Oh, so we saw Domskee make a save state there. I think he has a glitched room.
Oh, I like to see that.
Ooh.
I mean, I hope he can still find the stairs, but.
Yes, I really hope.
Yep, he's good.
Okay, yeah, good. The thing with glitched rooms indicate you can explain that because you will probably get it correct.
Basically, there's a chance that you will see a floor that has a cut-off room or a hallway, and it allows you to walk into that blackness that surrounds every room, and basically explore the unintended outside of a floor. And yeah, because only the current room is being lit up, you have to find your way in the dark if you want to find the other side of the broken room or hallway. Sometimes, unfortunately, that is forced in order to progress, so there is a certain chance, although it is a small one, that runners will have to solve one of those in the darkness explorations in order to progress to the next floor. And if you feel like hooking me up with a safe site because I've kind of have been collecting those, then feel free to send them my way. I always appreciate it. Seems like that's what Domskee has done there. In the meantime, Mikemike seems to have survived a blue chest, a blue mimic encounter.
Hey. Oh, and I find an iris staff. That's yet another iris item.
Yeah, I definitely lost track of how many iris items everyone has, but it has seemed to be a few of them. Oh, Mike trying to go past those Medusa and getting a very rare upturn on the worst possible moment. Okay, nice. So the Germfish Freaks have 2 items, and Team Mike has 1 iris item. Gotcha.
Looks like
Yep.
Domskee is up against the Prince Lizards now. Hopefully he can get the Fable Twist Jewel.
We're definitely seeing a, I'm not going to call it slow-paced approach to the cave, but definitely very speed-aware or point-aware over speed approach to getting these goals here, which I really like. The goals towards the end of the cave are not as, I would say, are not as easy to get as the ones early on in the cave, so... and I would consider everything up to including 60 those relatively easy goals. So yeah, runners spending more time there and possibly picking up the pace later on is definitely something that they probably will consider, and I'm assuming both teams don't think they can afford to miss out on any points. Team HabKeineName and Domskee have seen the Mikes getting 36 points, I believe, last week. Was it 36 or 32? Something along those lines, anyway.
It was over 30.
A very tall number. Yeah.
It was a high number, at least. And Domskee, the Fish Freaks, they... I'm not being rude when I call them that. That's what their team name is. But yeah, they also only barely won their initial round with like very few points difference between their teams. So every little point counts in this tournament.
Yep. Yeah, and then of course Team Mike cannot rest on their amazing score from last round because they start this race with 0. And they do all of them, so yeah, neither team can afford to
push, so it can't keep following him around and be difficult to deal with. Of course, he got rewarded by another Iron Golem behind the door in the next room, but he could just go back to the stairs and he's fine. But it was a very nice little swing with his sword to trap it behind that bush.
Yep, and HabKeineName there is in a situation where he has to pass Iron Golems in the hallway. Now there is a strat to get past those guys, which I like to call the Squealer Dash. I'm not sure if he's aware of it, but in any case he does not use it. It is a rather unknown strat, I would say. It is very situational, and yeah, he doesn't get punished for not doing it. He does not get surprise attacked, so he's fine.
Shout out to Squealer, because even though him and his partner Sinister got knocked out of the tournament like so many other very good teams. Yeah, shout out to Squealer for being one of the most prolific runners of the cave who streams on Twitch very regularly, and you can learn a lot of movement strats and things if you watch his streams.
Yep. There is a couple of runners that regularly do runs in the game here. Of course, you can follow the runners as well with the, I guess I'm gonna shout that out here, runners chat command. So if you like what you're seeing, then yeah, give those guys a follow. I think they run the Ancient Cave, depending on who it is, but from a lot to all the time to, you know, sparingly in some cases. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say Mike, if we getting the green core here. He's in a pretty good position for having going so fast. That's gonna give him the levels he needs to survive ninjas, probably. If they aren't exceptionally mean, that could always happen. You're never quite safe.
Yep.
But level 20
since
is very
Mikemike
nice.
is very close to find out, with only Artie being alive versus Assassin, so she manages to kill the Assassin and it's fine, but those guys are capable of just instant killing you with their thermal blow attack, and yeah, if that happens, just like Mikemike was finished off by the Parish, right? It's a chance of happening, and yeah.
And she gets a deadly rod, so that's 4 or 5 deadly items for HabKeineName and 1 for Mrs. Mikemike.
Mm-hmm. Yep, there is a red saber for HabKeineName in case he decides to face the jelly later on, and yeah, the points have closed in on 19 to 22, so we are seeing the teams getting closer together in terms of points, which does make sense because the general goals that you can see can be acquired on every floor, assuming you have the right prerequisites for it, enemies for it, and so on and so forth. So eventually all the ones that reasonably can be gotten will have been gotten. Is that English? Well, you know what I mean anyway.
Yeah.
And the floor goals are going to be the one that really determine progress. So in case you don't know what I'm talking about, or you just joined, I did post a tracker link in chat right now, so you can click that to follow along the individual and detailed team goals of what everyone has gotten. And yeah, only Team Domskee and HabKeineName have dipped into the 41 to 50 floor goals.
Okay.
While
both got have an enemy teleport on the same tile as you are on.
Yeah.
Which is apparently it's possible to get the teleporter to 100% teleport on top of you in a position where you back attack them.
It is.
I don't know how, but apparently it is possible. I just get teleported on by coincidence every time I go in there, so.
Yeah, one of the more detailed kind of knowledge tidbits about the game is that you can, if you face right, and the enemy that teleports on top of you also faces right, you will get a 100% back attack because the game considers you in that case, or, well, you know, the conditional branches that are responsible for checking how you get into a battle, whether you get a surprise deck or not. If you both face right and you're in the same spot, the game considers you to be one more tile to the left, and as such, you are getting a 100% back attack. And HabKeineName gets a catfish jewel, so after the engage ring, that is his second dead blue chest, or pretty much dead blue chest.
Yeah, there are some. So blue chests have the option of giving you really powerful good items, but it also has the option to give you some absolutely useless annoying items. But it's pretty bad, especially when you are on the high floors. Then that is not what you want to see.
Yeah, the reason I said earlier that the only item versus the engage ring, which is absolutely pointless to have, is earring, and the reason for that is because it's worth less than the engage ring, while being equally terrible. But at least the engage ring you can feed to your capsule monster at the highest tier, whereas the earring is lower than that. Earring at least has thunder attached to it. Yeah, that's fair. So it's not absolutely useless, just mostly.
So we see the teams moving into the 50s now, and the two 50 point incentive goals are to either have a party member, have more than one party member afflicted by status ailment applied by an enemy, which Domskee is working on right now with the Sirens. And the other one is to, across both teammates, hold 2 Hydora rocks.
Yep. A very nice goal, in my opinion.
Yes.
Something that both team members can contribute to, but even if one player does not manage to get one, the other player can compensate for it. Very nice.
And also, like, you want high-door rocks, you want to farm from them either way in most cases. If you can farm for them, you want to farm for them. So it doesn't hurt you to go looking for them, because they can be used for the jelly kill, they are an agility boost, they are generally quite nice to have. So it's a point incentive that, like, you would probably try to get at least one anyway, so it doesn't stop you in any way. It's very nice.
Oh wow, this siren is not in the mood to sing for us.
Domskee found the one mute siren in the cave.
Yeah. We do know that she trains a voice regularly, but so far. But there you go. And let's get the very rare Dutuwa silence status effect. I cannot be bothered to look up how rare it is, but you usually see something else that confuses you and whatnot. So, yep.
So we have a question in chat if Gay Displayed is weaker, or where did it go? Is Gay Displayed better than and yes and no, because the Mega S has a higher attack power, like if you're just attacking regularly, but the Gay Displayed has the IP attack of the Gay Displayed lets you attack 8 times? Yeah, and that IP attack is really, really good as a finisher against, for instance, the Jelly, which you have 3 turns to kill.
Yeah. Yeah, the interesting part about it is that sometimes it can depend on other or most of the time actually it will depend on other items that you have. So if you don't have a Cancer Rock or a Hidora Rock, then Mega X is not going to be as strong because you're only going to get 3 instead of 5 attacks out of it. The Cancer Rock and the Hidora Rock allow you to do those 2 additional attacks. So you get to 5 strong attacks versus 8 weak attacks, or 10 weak attacks from the Gay Displayed, if you want to look at it like that. However, if you do have some kind of attack boosting item, then Gay Displayed will still be stronger because you're going to be boosting 8 to 10 attacks instead of just 5, if that makes sense. So yeah, it always kind of depends on your overall setup.
And it also depends a bit on what characters you have available.
Yeah.
Because
yeah, actually,
like if you have if you only have Decker, then because the Gay Displayed can, and both Gay Displayed and the Mega Axe can only be equipped by Decker and Guy. So if you only have Decker and you want to and you have a Decker Blade, then you want to put that Decker Blade on Decker. You don't want him to waste his time with a Mega Axe or a Gay Displayed, because that is like 50% of the damage you're doing. But if you don't have the Decker Blade, then you still want to equip the Gay Displayed, I think.
Yeah, it is probably the second best damage dealing item in the game in terms of beating the Jelly with, in any case. But yeah, now that you mention it, actually none of these teams here could use both the Decker Blade and the Gay Displayed due to them either bringing Lexus or one of the girls. So yeah, that is one thing to consider. If they did find a Gay Displayed, you could not necessarily, or you wouldn't necessarily see that at Jelly. And I know that at least Domskee and Miss Mikemike have a Decker Blade. Sorry.
And I just saw HabKeineName pick up Old Sword. Well, I saw it while I was talking earlier, so I did catch that. And Old Sword is going to help out. The Old Sword already has a Decker Blade, but the Old Sword is going to help out there very, very nicely.
Yeah. So Miss Mikemike getting hit pretty hard there by a couple of ninjas.
Yeah.
She fortunately does not have to kill him. I didn't see how many times she had to fight them, but it seems like she might be out of revives, which would be quite terrible. We will see. This is the finals right now. You're watching it. These are the teams that have made it through all the quarter and semifinals. and through all the bad mouthing in Discord, which of
Yeah.
course, it's not
all the
meant
mean
at any
comments
point.
and the very good teams they were up against.
Yep. Yeah, it does feel like the best teams always get kicked out in the first round of the tourney, doesn't it?
Yeah. And if anyone thinks we sound salty about that, it's because HabKeineName and Domskee beat us in the first round, which is why we are making fun of ourselves and not being mean here for anyone who's not been following this tournament. Just want to clarify that.
Yep.
And
but there is definitely a bit of friendly competition going on between the teams. So
yes, it's part of the great fun about these tournaments is getting to trash talk the other teams in a way that isn't mean or like anyone's gonna get hurt. It's just for fun and to build up hype a little bit.
And everyone's well aware of that. At least some part of the game is being decided by RNG. And obviously being a good runner does influence your chances to the better, but sometimes randomness will just not have a very good run in store for you, and then that's why all the trash talking is not really, it couldn't be serious even if we tried.
Oh, and a curse snifter for HabKeineName. I didn't know if he had one already, but that is very good considering the amount of that he's been picking up.
Yeah, so it has been mentioned that there is only 40 minutes left for. If I'm looking around on Team Mikemike, they still have over 50 floors to cover. Domskee seems to be a bit further ahead, and I think HabKeineName is also at pretty much floor 60.
Nice.
Is that it?
I think so. Let me think. Green dragons, so that would be 56 to 59.
Floor 60.
No,
Yeah.
57 to 59. Yeah. So, if anyone thinks I sound like I know a lot about the cave, it's because I have the Ancient Cave reference guide up on my other monitor, and I'm looking things up as we go. So it's a very nice resource if you want to run this cave or just know more about this. And it can make you sound really smart. So go check it out.
That's how I made my way into every single commentary so far, right?
Hey, by making it so.
That too, but I also don't remember anything. Just pulling the info from there. Yeah, HabKeineName has picked up a Deca Blade in the meantime. I keep saying Deadly Blade, but it is the Deca Blade. So now, except for Mikemike, or at least I missed him if you did get it, except for Mikemike, everyone has a Deca Blade in their inventory, and as such is, at least in terms of fractionals, set for the jelly. So yeah, Domskee gets a lot of experience there. Quite nice. That is a Bober time.
Yeah, that is definitely a peak Bober time. So, earn a jewel from a battle. We've seen Mikemike get that, and he's the only one who's gotten that so far on these 40 floors. There are a lot of enemies on 40 floors that you can get that from. In general, but the drop and with various different drop chances. So if you see people killing the Brince Lizards, that would be for the Twist Jewel, and then you see you could get, if you're very lucky, you could get a Mr. Jewel from a ninja, but also the Tatonas, which Mikemike was fighting a little bit, can drop a jewel. So there are
and
many
I think
options
he
there.
did get the Earth Jewel from him.
Yeah.
I have seen him fight those a couple of floors ago. I didn't see the drop, but I'm assuming that's what happened.
Right.
So Mrs. Mikemike still looks like she's very hard pressed for revives, for healing in general.
Yeah, she has a healing spell, but she does not have revives. that is hurting her a lot.
Yeah, definitely. So Artie and Decker can tank a bunch of damage here from the Brince Lizards, especially the Blizzard, which is what I like to call him, the Blizzard Lizard. But yeah, not indefinitely, and especially if it's two of them she's going to be facing, then they both can cast an attack called Frost, which is an AoE attack that deals ice elemental damage.
And then the Iron Golems show up to party, and those are not the ones you want to party with. They are very bad when they show up to the party. They break your stuff and they vomit in the sink. So don't go to parties with Iron Golems.
Yep. She did move too fast for me to see there whether she actually got the setup for the Squealer Dash, but
no, she just walked right into them.
Yeah, which means there's like a 50-50 chance, right?
Okay, yeah, of course.
Oh, she Providences. Okay, that is a surprise actually. Yeah, so that is an option players have. So if you Providence, then you are being set back to floor 0, pretty much. And you do get a point. You can switch your party, which apparently Ms. Mikemike is opting for. So I'm assuming Lexus is going to stay in the party and one of the girls is going to be brought in.
That she can get that apron incentive.
Well, she can get 1/2 of the apron incentive, which is why. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what's gonna happen from there. But I'm seeing Artie, Tia, and Lexus. So we're going for a bit of a speedy thing. Possibly or probably a setup to get everyone's bars full without the need for a speed potion, because now every single character actually has an MP bar. So you don't need to find a speed potion to get them a max MP number. Just to spell that out for everyone not as familiar with the game, if you pick Decker or Guy, they do not, their max MP is going to be 0 from level 1 to level 99. So you cannot actually fill their MP bar unless you give them a spell potion or, more than one. So that is probably going to be her setup. And at a later point, Mikemike can still Providence out, get his half of the apron goal, if that is what's going to happen. And that would be an additional point. However, I will also say, Team Mikemike and especially Mrs. Mikemike... Oh no, wait. Team Mikemike has gotten a lot of the early floor goals. So the earliest floor goal Mrs. Mikemike could be going for is get a surprise attack on Assassin. That definitely is a goal that's easy enough to do though. So that's probably something she's going to be a little mad about not having gotten the first time around. Which probably means there has not been an occasion where she got unlucky with the first strike attacks, so... Yeah, there are a couple of points she can still pick up.
And also remember that Mikemike is a very good player. He has a very good PV. He can go really fast if he should decide that he wants to. So I wouldn't rule it out that he just goes and gets pretty far into the cave, if that's the I don't remember what the tiebreaker here is.
The furthest floor, well, the most number of jelly kills followed by the
furthest floor.
Deepest floor, followed by, I'm pretty sure, I mean, it's just guessing work from here, but that should be enough to determine it in any case.
So yeah, Mikemike, we've seen him before. He can do really good movements and is very good at manipulating enemies. So he can go very fast in a short time if he decides that they need to do that.
Yeah, so Mikemike is probably the most experienced runner in terms of going fast out of the players present here. He does have a sub-1 cave clear time, which I believe he's the only one in the roster here. I'm pretty sure anyway. And that is kind of considered the For the tournament, we have a 2-hour time limit because a lot of things can happen, and we like to see completed runs. But also because there is a lot of randomness in the cave, and you cannot guarantee to get that 1-hour run every single time you go down there. So Mikemike is in the late 60s here, and I'm in frame drop.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
Oh, there we're back.
Mikemike is in the late 60s here, and he can probably make a fast time unless something happens in the cave. So yeah, we'll see. He cannot rely on making it to a jelly in the same pace that he would theoretically be able to make it in any percent run. Is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. Basically, if the
But he
cave
might
says
as well
no,
try.
it says no, and there's not much you can do about that, no matter how good you are. And let's not discount that both Domskee and HabKeineName and Mrs. Mikemike to some extent, even though she's very, well, I guess I can't call her new anymore because she's been in this game for like several years now. I'm just very old. But they are also definitely capable of going fast if they should, if the cave permits it. So, and HabKeineName does have a history of winning tournaments.
He does actually. Do I?
Or did I imagine
forget
that?
some?
Or at least getting second place in tournaments? Maybe that's what I'm thinking about.
That possibly, yeah. I mean, I'm sorry if I'm forgetting something.
Yeah. I
I
don't
know
have
you
a
didn't
complete
win last
archive.
year. So.
Oh, right. Yeah, because I keeps being in tournaments and almost winning. So it would be about time for him to win something.
Yeah.
And of course, he has beaten, or his team, the Fish Freaks, have beaten the best team in this tournament so far. So
You're saying they basically have earned it.
Yeah.
If they win here. Yeah.
If they win, it's okay. I will feel vindicated.
Yeah, I mean, simply by the rule of random elimination in the tournament, both of these teams here have forfeited their shot at winning this year's Jelly Jam. And yeah, I mean, from what this race looks like, this is not being determined by someone randomly lucking into a win like last year's.
No.
But yeah, these guys know what they're doing. They're going for it. They're head-to-head 24 to 25 points.
This is going to be very interesting to see how it turns out. And very tight. And I think I'm very curious to see how this turns out because there's so many options still going and so many possibilities. And of course, we could always experience that a cave just decides that no one is going anywhere, and well, then we're here.
Yep. Yeah, sure. So, I mean, we're gonna see, or we're starting to see something that is probably gonna cascade from here on down. So, Team Domskee and HabKeineName has actually gotten the entire floor 61 to 70 goals, which is afflicting a status element to Sphinx, and actually have gotten one team member to hold the holy food and the other to hold the dark food, which is an objective that hasn't been gotten so far.
No, that's the first time. I
That's
did call
really
out
nice.
earlier that I wanted to see that, so very happy that they are listening to me.
Yeah. So I will make a prediction and say that they will stop their efforts at defeating an Archfiend without the use of instant death for both of them. But until then, I mean, so far on every single floor they have been on, they have been getting the team goal objectives, and they have been doing really good with single point objectives. So at least, in the ramifications of a team tournament, I really like that they have been putting effort into getting the team goals and have been successful at that. So yeah. Very nice.
Domskee is in a little bit of a hairy situation. There's a lot of gold gorems and those nasty little fishes around in this room, and I'm not sure where he needs to go to find the stairs, because there's also a hallway to the left where there's a lot of dragons, which he might not want to deal with. And it looks like he needs to go there.
Maybe there is a lot of gold gorm sentries.
HabKeineName is he's got this blue dragon and the thunder beast, and then there's think I saw
yeah,
a
I see.
boat behind it, which is of course also a possibility for another point in circles.
Mhm.
Mike
Yeah,
Mike
this is
just
gonna be rough. So
yeah, Mike just got floor 60, so he can also start making more points.
mhm. Yeah, he's definitely able to make it to jelly. However, the question is whether he even wants to make it there. I'm not sure if he has a jelly kill. So
No,
he might just be trying to go deep for the points.
yeah, I think with his current setup of items, then I would at least try to pick up points. Now he's in the 60s,
Yeah,
so he's got like
course.
those Sphinx points which he can pick up.
Yeah,
which is
possibly anyway, if he has the right
Yeah.
equipments or
If
items for it.
a freeze ball or deflect or something that can inflict a status effect on things.
Yeah, he has Lexus, which means there is an option for having stun gun, for example.
Oh yeah.
And he does use that, yeah. That's
Yeah.
very nice. So that's something I use in my race, and I found that to be very effective. Because the amount of IP it uses, I have not been aware of that beforehand, is reasonably little. So he has more than 50% of IP here. I'm not actually sure how much it takes, but I'm curious to see how much that bar is going to go down, because it's not going to be a lot. I was really surprised by that. And it does have a 100% paralysis chance, so yeah. It looks like it is actually more than I remember.
Oh, it's, yeah, it's 88.
38,
According-
yeah.
Oh, 38.
88? Yeah. Is AC ref wrong? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I'm gonna say AC ref is wrong because it says.
No, it says
88
38 then.
No, it says IP 88.
Oh, that must be... No, it says 38. You're wrong. I will not have my webpage slandered on commentary.
Okay, I'll
without
send
a
you,
fight.
I'll send you a screenshot. And you can argue with me then. But yeah, we should probably get back to tournament and not discuss AC ref.
So, in spite of my prediction just now of Team Domskee and HabKeineName probably having an easier point of making points, we do see a 2-point leap from Team Mikemike, and I do wonder where that comes from. The Sphinx status effect is one thing that I'm seeing. What's the other point? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I just got. Oh, the Figoro point. Nice.
Yes.
Yeah. Mikemike has gotten that really early, or his half of it.
Oh no,
also.
yeah, Mrs. Mikemike got it.
Exactly. So Mikemike has gotten it early, and Mrs. Mikemike now completed it, is what I was trying to say, yeah. Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, shout out to Sinister, who's doing commentary last round and always being helpful with helping commentary, who's more bothered about AC ref than actually watching a tournament Kappa, to, you know, provide us with some backup information. Thanks, man. It's appreciated.
Yeah, it's very much appreciated. It's difficult to pay attention to 4 screens at once and also try to think of things to say, as you are well aware. Oh, Domskee
Very
with
nice.
a little teleporter, but he handles it well. Gets a 50-50 chance. And rally for HabKeineName, so now he has revives as well. He's sitting on a pretty, a very good run actually. So.
Something Eli just mentioned in chat is whether Mrs. Mike or Eli is convinced that Mrs. Mike's Providence was a good play. At the time I said it was surprising, and the reason for that is that I think she could have gotten past those Iron Golems pretty surely if she had gotten the dash strat. And yeah, I mean, every single chest can be a revive spell or something like that, gets you back in the game, so of course that also means the more time you waste there, the less time you're gonna have on your second attempt if you die. So, yep. And you wouldn't have the Providence
Now we
point
got,
by any means.
Mike
But I was
messing
surprised by
with
it
the
as well.
Orcus.
Mm-hmm.
He has confused balls and stuff like that, so he might be okay if they are actually affected by the status effect and they just do their thing and doesn't bother anyone.
Yep, very nice. He used the sleep ball with Decker, who is slower than Blaze. However, he escaped and he actually outspeeds the Orky, which means he did waste the sleep ball. So why I said it was a good idea to use it with Decker is that Blaze, if he hits the Orky, can actually wake him up after the sleep ball deals damage. So yeah. And there you go, that's a confused ball.
Yes,
Very nice.
excellent. Very good.
That's the Orky point.
And
So we're looking at 26
engage them
to
again
28,
just
wow.
for fun.
Okay. Yeah, because he can, right?
Oh yeah, of
Just
course. He's
going out.
an up the head strike. Why not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe he is worried about his post-tournament spot on the couch, right?
Yeah.
So he's going the extra mile.
Right. So HabKeineName has managed to get a Hydora. So that's at least one for their team. I don't know if they got. Oh, they both got the Hydora, or they got two Hydoraks across their team. Didn't even notice. And the lovely Ice Rogues for his Archfiend sprite.
An enemy I can't help to feel bad for because you're always happy to see them. They're trying to be really threatening enemies, but you're just happy it's not an Archfiend.
I mean, not a loss really being happy. Like when everyone's happy to see you, aren't you like doing something good?
No, sure, but I mean they're trying to be dreadful enemies, right? So, yeah. I'm just saying that's not really working out for them too well. Well, let's be fair, compared to Archfiends, they really do not pose a very big threat. So,
They do have insta-death attack though. Which
yeah.
sometimes you are happy to see them and then they still kill you.
Yeah. It did kill Decker there for HabKeineName in the encounters, so that usually is your character that will survive, if anyone, at those floors. So seeing Decker die, and of course the worst thing that can happen is everyone but Decker having IP, but you need to IP farm with Decker. That's terrible. And it looks like that's actually very close to what's actually happening. Yeah, I don't know its equipment, but yeah. Yep, so just to point that out, Mikemike is the only person in his team, well, the 1 out of 2, who is still deep in the cave, who can still get the floors that have new goals for him that he hasn't attempted before, whereas Mrs. Mikemike unfortunately is had to Providence on what I suspect would be resource reasons, and is kind of going through the same couple of floors that she's already visited, meaning Mikemike has to go against Domskee and HabKeineName, who both are deep in the cave, who both can still go for points they're new, go for new objectives, and yeah, Mikemike does manage to stay in the lead, as has been pointed out by Eli in chat, which is definitely impressive. We are looking at a timer of 18 minutes left. So I see Domskee just entering floor 80. I'm thinking Mikemike can't be far behind. And I guess we'll see in a second here. 76, yep. Yeah, so...
HabKeineName doing the buff everyone with an MP, mage, int, MGR buff.
Yep. And that's really good doing it against the Earth Genie, because you have that chance of it doing a ground shock. You're gonna get your free IP farm out of it if you just run now. But it looks like he's just looking to kill it, which of course is also fun.
They could also absorb your MP, which is also like if you all your guys have their MP absorbed, then that is also a point.
Yep. Why am I seeing Fumi though? Is that a thing? Ooh, sound eyes there. That's not good. I generally approve of, like, it was a bit of a gamble, but I generally approve of that because there's a 24% chance for a ground shock, so a 5% chance of a double ground shock, pretty much like a 6.25, if my math is correct on that. So, yeah, I'm willing to take that easily. I can definitely get behind him trying to do that at 16 minutes left on the timer.
And now Mikemike is up versus an Archfiend and a Hades Wagon. Which is yeah, you, speaking of Ice Rogues and Fiends, Archfiends are never ones you want to see. Oh, Moku Jinken! Oh, sorry.
I missed it. Apparently Mikemike is other revives. I have seen 3 miracles, I believe, in his inventory just now, but I might be wrong. He definitely has the kind of yeah, fast walking speed through the cave. Oh, non-miracle revives. I gotcha.
Okay.
For the 0 MP point. Now I get what you're saying. Sure. Yeah, and he finds more miracles. So, I forget if your character is dead. What does the MP bar show? I think the MP bar is still intact, right? Yeah, that's
the
unfortunate.
MP is still
Oh man, which means you cannot use it. You can't use it in the menu. Enemies cannot absorb it. That's terrible. That's very unfortunate. At this point, if he thinks he has a jelly kill, I would probably just disregard that point, honestly.
I don't think Mikemike has a jelly kill though.
Yeah, that's the other thing. So, in which case, it's probably time very well spent.
Yeah. HabKeineName is in a very good position if he gets there. Yeah, he has a finisher with the Drape's Red Saber and Decker Blade and an Uncursed Deadly Rod and an Old Sword. He should have a kill if he gets to the jelly.
They also have 2 Hidoroks in the party, so I'm assuming they split up over both runners, even though I have no idea. Oh, there's Mythblade now.
Yeah.
So, even if he decides to go Myth Dora or Old Dora, that is still going to be a very nice finisher option. So, yep. I agree, he definitely should be in a good position, even just from what we've seen. Domskee, at the very least, should be able to make it there in time. Hopefully, anyway. If he doesn't get roadblocked, and of course, if he wants to get there. And does not opt to go for points. And yeah,
I mean,
we are looking at 28 to 29 points, so wow.
Yeah, and neither of the German fish freaks have Providence out now, yet, so there's 2 easy points for them there if it still gets really tight.
They would have to do it before floor 50, which is a rules change from previous runs. So yeah, what they can do is Providence, then get back in the cave, and Providence then. So they could do that, but they still have 13 minutes, so that's still in the cards.
Yeah.
However, I'm not sure whether they want to do that.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Providence only drops after floor 21, which is it's a bit of a gamble to go out and then re-enter and try to get it. You have to at least get to floor 21 within the time limit, and then you don't know how long after 21 you get it. So.
Yep. Mr. Mikemike apparently gets the 4 full bars, 3 full bars. I mean, we can still see there, so there's definitely a lot of opportunity for us to verify that. And apparently Mikemike did some good calculations there. So, I mean, I'm really curious to see how runners are planning to finish off this race, you know, as HabKeineName finishing out, feeding Fumi here. I'm assuming he's gonna go to a jelly. If he doesn't have a kill, there's not too many things he can still reasonably go for. The only goal that's left is feeding a capsule monster, and the way he's been rushing through the cave, I would not be convinced that he actually can feed a capsule to form 4. I think HabKeineName is on 88 plus or the 90s. I mean, he would have to be on the 90s, right, to be able to do do the feeding goal.
Okay, so he's on floor 92. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Horizontal corridor with a dragon IC, so probably trying to get every single point he can before a possible dreadful encounter, from what that sounds like. Although I haven't seen it. I will say that horizontal corridors have been, yeah, not too good to runners in the past. In tournaments.
Yeah. Which fruit is it Fumi needs to get into M farm?
The secret fruit.
Oh, right. So he's good on that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's what I mentioned earlier. He even has 2 of them for some reason.
Mm.
So I do see HabKeineName having the holy fruit and the dark fruit. I don't want to suggest anything here, but I wonder if they marked it because even if one player had both, whereas they have to split that goal up among both players. So that's probably something to ask them after the race, but until then I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that Domskee also probably picked up the dark fruit.
The nine-tailed fox of Fumi's M form, which is an extremely rare view in the cave, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Ooh, and that corridor is kind of... Yep. That is... I think he peeked... Did he peek at the dragon earlier?
I'm not sure.
Ooh. The dragon moving away. Oh, silver and gold. That is not what you want to see in your dragon fight.
Yep. Could be worse, but not by much.
Hmm?
So, yeah, dragons famously never kill anyone, so there is a chance that these guys will do, what is it, dread and trick, I believe? Bravery, maybe? I forget.
That
Either way,
mist
an
from
attack.
Aki was not what you wanted.
Yeah, that's true.
Domskee is now feeding, so we get to see if he has the fruit as well.
Yeah. Destroy hit, and the Terror Ball does not, so it's a single silver. This could be anything from a wipe to a good IP farm.
Right.
He uses a smoke ball with Decker to be able to get out in case the Decker survives, even if his R strats go south, but already gets the kill. So no worries.
Oh, okay. Good. Excellent. I really want to see Jelly kill.
Now there's Mikemike facing off a Gold Gorm, so there's a 25% chance the dragon moves to right. That's what happens. I see the first Stardust blow right now. And unfortunately, the Gold Dragon finishes off Mikemike with a Stardust blow and a regular attack. It's very unfortunate, so they are still in the lead by 1 point. However,
they can get... If Mikemike goes fast, because he's died both times when he's reset, so if he goes and gets to Providence now, he can get 1 point from that.
And 8 minutes is a good time for that, I guess. It is not very comfortable though, so I'm not sure what other objectives he could even reasonably go for. He could go for all characters having a full IP bar, but I mean, he did immediately go back into the cave and not do what Mrs. Mikemike did and pick characters that had full MP bars, or well, that had MP bars in the first place. And also, I will say that 8 minutes is not a great time to IP farm in early levels and get MP restores for all the characters. So, yeah.
I could get... He could earn a fruit from a battle, maybe. But that's gonna be dicey because they're gonna hurt you so much if they get an attack off.
And he has
you
to
need
get to
certain
floor
items.
21 for that anyway.
Yeah.
So if that's going to be his goal, he can just open for Providence and probably has the better choice. As I said, I miss Mikemike finds Providence, but she, of course, has already gotten the Providence point as the only runner in the group here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm looking at Domskee feeding the capsule, so also trying to get the Form 4 feeding goal. I'm assuming that is going to happen. Because once you see one of these runners getting into the menu, you probably know they have the... Oh yeah, I see a dark food for Domskee, so yep, very nice. So they do have that point, so the point still, for all we know, is accurate. You know, always gotta take it with a bit of a grain of salt, because you never know whether runners are gonna change something after a run because there's something they forgot or need to correct something. With this many goals, it's kind of a given, you know, that you might not always know everything, or have time to mark everything. You try, yeah, I'm gonna mark it after battle, but then you don't.
Yeah,
So,
or you might forget that something is an incentive. And for instance, the thunder attack against an enemy that is the thunder.
Yep. However, all players already got that so far, so...
Yeah.
I guess the Iris items are an option, however, that is very unlikely to still happen.
Yeah, you would have to be extraordinarily lucky for that.
Yep.
Re-entering the cave a lot might help you out there, but that's gonna take time. They don't really have. In 5 minutes, that's not gonna happen. I'm gonna say that.
And of course, there is the looming possibility that that HabKeineName will get a jelly kill, in which case, if HabKeineName gets between 2 and 4 points here, then, well, I guess he can get a max of 3 points, the way his party is set up, but if he gets between 2 and 3 points, then I don't think the Mikemikes can keep up with that, but we'll see. It's also not guaranteed.
IP farm, that is not good for HabKeineName.
Yeah. The question is whether she necessarily needs IP, and of course whether HabKeineName thinks that she necessarily needs IP, but she definitely needs 100% for Decker to use the Decker Blade, so that is what he's gonna look for getting. I'm thinking maybe he's just gonna take a loss on Seln's IP and is just gonna take the spell damage. We'll see though. I also don't know which floor he's at exactly and how much room he still has to cover. There is a chance that he's... Oh, and I'm looking at Domskee's inventory and... Oh man. Oh, there is a Gades Blade actually. I had not seen that before. So he has a couple of Deadly Swords. He does need to feed it down to a lower tier if he wants to possibly feed those even, but I'm not sure off the top of my head whether that would actually take him. Yeah, it wouldn't. So that might not be a point. I mean, at this point we're looking at him feeding his jelly gear away, which, you know, no, that looks good though. Yep. So he's gonna get it. So yeah, that will be the 31st point for him, assuming he does make it. But I'm not sure if he has to feed anything that he needs for jelly kills. So he's hovering over the Decker Blade. He's feeding a Deadly Sword again, but it won't work.
The Decker Blade isn't gonna give him.
Oh wait, he has Dark Fruits.
Yeah.
No wait, that's the wrong one.
No, yeah.
That's the M-form fruit.
Like
oh wow, he can actually get the
crystal rod, was that what he had?
Crystal Wand, yeah.
Crystal Wand, that could give him what he needs.
That's a tier 12, so I think that would be 1 bar.
Oh.
If I'm not wrong. Yeah. We're seeing a bunch of magic scale unequipped, so yep, that's gonna work.
There we go.
Very nice. So he gets the 31st point for feeding Capsule from form 1 to 4. He is gonna evolve the monster to M form, I'm pretty sure. Which is gonna give him another point because HabKeineName already did his half of the point. So that's very impressive. I will say that in general, we're seeing two teams here which are, well, you know, rather easily, from what it seems, are going over 30 points in total, which is just impressive to me, right? The Mikes in the last round have been the only team able to crack the 30 threshold, and now we're seeing a finals with both teams going over that. You know, just imaginary good threshold. Yeah, so that's very nice. We'll see whether... Oh, I see a room for Domskee there.
But there's a healing time. Oh, that doesn't... That...
The silver lining, yeah.
A silver lining of a healing time. It's always exciting to find
Ooh, so...
teleportation
Domskee,
to the right.
he knew what happened.
Aye.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Oof, 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 oof.
So I think there's at least one summoner up there, probably more than just one. So yeah, once he entered the door and saw the Dark Summoners teleported, he had to have known that they teleported in the doorway. And at that point, there is no way to get him out of there. The way he had it. Yeah, the way he had them teleport in there, right? So now he just has to encounter them. He has to take at least this one battle. So even if he survived this, I'm pretty sure there is no encounter after this. Oh, never mind. Okay, so Flash takes care of a couple of them. And there is actually no other encounter. So wow, maybe you get lucky here. We are looking at 30 seconds left on timer.
That was a big hit from Flash. That was...
Again, really
something you very rarely get to see.
That's not the way he had to go. Oh man, you hate to see it.
Oh, does that mean the stairs are in that tunnel somewhere, or is it somewhere else?
Well, I'm afraid it won't matter because I do not think in the time we can reasonably go anywhere. So.
And there the timer.
At least the timer for us is over, so the runners' timers might be off by a couple of seconds. But I will say GG's at this point. I dare not to call anyone the winner at this point until the post-game interview, making sure that everyone's got their points sorted out and whatnot. Yeah.
And I also still want to see HabKeineName get to the jelly, because he's got such a good setup for the jelly kill. So if we can get there, he will. With IP, of course. Then
that is the round. I'm double checking all of the points right now. RC, if you can handle just amassing the runners to inform them that things are done. Although I suppose we may be able to watch HabKeineName potentially finish out a jelly kill and at least give us a battle for this final, even though it may take a while. It's something to do while I'm checking on points.
Yeah, I'm going on a voyage in the meantime.
Okay.
welcome back.
Yeah.
Things are
Yeah, he
close,
just
guys, in
needs.
terms of everything. I'm double checking, but it looks like the German Fish Freaks do have the title.
Okay.
He is just giving us an exciting play-by-play. So if the Mikes want to share anything as far as their thoughts regarding how the run turned out for themselves, while HabKeineName
Yeah, that was
finishes what he's doing.
a fun run. We had some interesting things going on. We had a double perish on hit 2 of my party members and took an early wipe. That's a rare one.
Yeah, we saw.
Yep. Went back down in the 90s. I was gonna feed my capsule once I got there, but I had no chance at a kill. But then we found Gold Dragon. We never usually kill anyone. I was misinformed.
Yeah. So
Anyway, how was their run? Sounds like you did really, really well.
yeah, you both did really, really well, in my opinion. We have gotten 2 30-plus point runs here. And it looked like from all angles, like even with you guys, meaning the Mikes, taking a few punches, it looked like both teams really knew what they were doing, really had a very good idea of, how to play this tournament, what to do in the run, and so on. So, yeah.
Yeah, it looked
Oh, and we
like
see
it's.
yet another Dark Summoner encounter.
Oh, don't do that. But yeah, it was a pretty solid strategy. I don't know how much of that was planned, but it looked planned, so I'm gonna assume it was planned because that makes you look good. But yeah, it was really interesting to see people picking up so many points. Oh no. Oh, please, no name, get the kill.
We have seen a couple of unfortunate teleporter encounters in this run.
Oh, again.
Here I say this is another one.
Oh.
So
Did both Domskee and HabKeineName make it to the jelly?
No. Domskee got killed by teleporters. Dark Summoners.
A Dark Summoner
HabKeineName
Dragon
has-
Con room was a very rough thing
Yeah.
for Domskee to fight through, and he got them in a doorway ambush.
Yeah, and
Thanks.
HabKeineName has a sure kill if he gets there with IP, but he accidentally walked into some summoners that killed previous people, so now he needs to get the IP again.
yeah, it is a bit of a panic move there going on, I'm sure. So
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
he's only got everyone watching him hoping for this kill, so Ooh. But I really want to see this.
Yeah, it would be nice to see a jelly kill at the end of this, especially since it has been a really good race, which did not feature a jelly kill, but nevertheless has been a pretty good showcase, I feel, of what you can do with this rule set. And yeah, I can't help but feel that these two teams were definitely very well placed in these finals here. So yeah, it was great to watch.
I'd like to add it was a nail
Which
biter
does
the
include two
entire
Mikemike.
way through, because the two of you, or the two teams I should say, of you guys were constantly doing things that were extremely close in terms of, and there was no decisive victory. There was nothing really that anyone could guarantee. Mike Providencing out, I was thinking that you might go for an apron party swap, and then you get that point, and if you did that and managed to get the Providence, then the score would have been 33 all around, and that would have just been very, very close.
Right, yeah. I was going for the Providence, but I had the slowest Providence percent ever. A bunch of buffalo and horses in the way.
Yeah, I saw that.
And this was doing
Yep,
some cool
so-
things in the background too. She was getting like she did bring in Tia and got the full HP IP point
Yep, we saw that.
Kind of it took a while, but she nailed it. And
Yep.
when she was running down to get an assassin, surprise. We figured we could pick up a couple points if I could get the Providence and she could get a surprise attack on assassins.
Yeah.
It's kind of
I
our
figured
next
that was the
points
plan.
So Mike, I got
Or
a
at least
couple of
the last
questions
part.
for you. There was a point in which I think you ran face first into some some wizards or something. There was a couple of questionable points of movement that you had.
I know I side attacked wizard once that I didn't especially want to do.
Was there a point in
Is
which
that, in fact, was that? Oh, go ahead.
was there a point in which you felt like you really were out of control about the Providence out, or the benefit of that earlier on?
No, actually, I had no Providence points. I had a few miracles still. The only thing that caused the death was multi-target 25% with whatever decreased chances it has once you multi-target hitting two characters with HP. So yeah, I felt in control still. But
So-
I don't know that I've ever seen that.
Just to explain for the viewers really quickly what's going on here. HabKeineName is trying to fill his IP bar, which is the orange bar all the way on the bottom, in order to use his equipment special abilities, which he does need for the Jelly Kill. What you need to fill those up is to get attacked by a dragon, which really worked out well here. So now what he has is full IP for Decker Maxim and Artie, or Decker HCAN and Artie, and he is looking for apparently more IP for Selen. I'm not sure what Selen has, but yep, that is what we're looking at right here, is the IP farm. So basically, try. I fill up all the bars, and here we go.
Bad anymore? We're good.
Oh,
Teleport.
I was worried for a second.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh.
It is the kind of thing that just happens, right? If you're,
Yeah.
You just ran your 2-hour tournament race, you are very likely to be the winner. And people are just waiting for you to really quickly farm IP, which does take a lot of time sometimes. And then get the jelly killed, and yeah, that's the kind of thing that does happen. So this should be a rather easy jelly fight.
So whip out those calculators, everybody, of course. Worse things have happened. We've seen people walk in with almost surefire failures and come out with kills because their capsule monster did some 2,000 points of damage or so.
I feel called out. I'm gonna mute myself here so you don't have to endure the typing.
Yeah, and I'm gonna do the same so I don't shout at anyone. Because jelly kills gets me very excitable.
Which means that commentary is on you, Eli.
We've seen an excellent roll of devastation from Artie doing about the maximum it could possibly do. A power gourd used to buff Maximum's attack power, interestingly. Doesn't usually see that much display in a fight, but it is a boost when you have someone running an attack that's going to be doing a big finisher, so you sometimes want to capitalize on that early on. The Fatal Blow is a pretty decent quality as well. The Devastation on turn 1 was a 95% quality, Fatal Blow 56%. Doesn't get much better than that for rolls, but I feel pretty confident how this will turn out. Triple attack from the Hydorok, proving just how invaluable a powerful weapon plus the Hydorok combo is. And then a 3x dealing a pretty decent amount of damage from Salon. Without a buff, it's not amazing, but 700 damage is nothing to ever complain about. We have a 911 HP left going into turn 3, so this is pretty much a surefire win. He gets the spellcasters from all 3 other characters, plus Decker punching, should be enough to get the KO. We see a cast of Dragon, which is the slowest spell in terms of animation, but respectable in terms of power. And this Dragon from Salon should finish off the kill, giving us a jelly kill a bit later than it needed to be. Still a respectable title and a respectable celebration for the winners of today's tournament.
Yeah, very nice.
Hi, good. GG, well played. That was really fun and.
That took way too long.
At least we got to see a kill.
Yeah.
Yeah, GG.
I mean, I had to make a show and nearly die like a bazillion times on the last floor over the time. I just had to make it a show.
Oh, right. So you're saying it was intentional, right?
Definitely.
Sure. It looked very intentional.
To officially close this out, we had a fantastic run from all of our 4 runners, Mikemike and Mrs. Mikemike, the runners-up of today's event, and Team German Fish Freaks, Domskee and HabKeineName, proving after 3 years that they are good enough to earn that title, beating the Mikemikes in their own game. Something that I know they've been fighting for a while.
Can I please hear the final score?
Oh, the final score was officially selected and tabulated at 32-31.
All right.
It was extremely close. The Mikemikes had Providenced out in hopes to get a couple of points because Mikemike himself had made it into I think it was the low 90s, but wasn't quite deep enough to potentially break a tie. But you guys were holding on just long enough that it was a very nail-biting event. Whereas the previous round, until the jelly fights themselves were happening with Mitchie, it was kind of looking like it could go pretty much Travatox and Colliers for the majority of that latter third of the match. This one was nail-biting the entire time. It was a lot of sway back and forth. And
well, then I'm just happy that I delivered and my dream come true that I set before the race. I said at this point I don't care what happens tonight, who wins or who loses, as long as we finish it off with a good show. And it sounds like we've delivered.
Yeah, definitely. I'm still just
mad
that
jelly kill and very end, which is a very satisfying for commentators and viewers.
I'm so mad at myself that I didn't realize I could have just ran and tried to ran IP farm instead of healing each turn. Then I had destroy miss 6 times, and then he mirrored, and then destroy of course hit.
So,
that IP farm was something.
I don't know if you guys are still around, Domskee and Mrs. Mikemike, but you were the 2 runners who did not get any spotlights so far. Do you have anything you want to add?
Right.
Great job putting that together once again. This is like my 3rd jelly, I think, and every one of them is just so challenging, and the people involved are so capable. It's always so fun, and I hope, I can't wait to go back and watch the VOD, but I think we did a good job putting on a good show.
Yeah, first of all, GG, and I also can't wait to watch the VOD, and of course, thanks for the tournament, thanks to Ellie and RPG Limit Break and everyone involved, and it was fun to play again this year.
GG,
Yeah,
you
very
guys.
nice.
Very well played.
What I can say is that all of you definitely put on a great show. It was a very great, very worthy finals that you guys put up, so it was a joy to watch.
And thank you very much to Eli for putting this together.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, if you are
Definitely
interested in joining and keeping up with the Ancient Cave Community's events, there is going to be a Fatal Blowout event later this year, which is a 4-person, all one-on-one, pretty much straight speed race. More traditional to what you may see when you watch other RPG Limit Break style events or GDQs. And every year in January, a new Jelly Jam does come out, so there are other locations and groups who tend to run events, Rogue HQ, Rogarama, and some others that do showcase the Ancient Cave. Definitely consider joining the Ancient Cave Discord, which is listed right there in chat right now, and you can keep an eye on the events that feature this stuff. If you'd like to join our Discord and just give the cave a shot, maybe not participate in these events, but play through an old classic that you haven't touched in a while, definitely consider joining. We're very friendly. There's almost always a couple of people interested in hopping into Twitch streams that will be able to give you some great advice and help you out and help you get that first jelly kill if you haven't already. And the runners that you see here are all pretty darn active, the commentary crew as well, in terms of making sure that the community and the information is as strong and stable as it can possibly be. With that said, congratulations, Domskee and HabKeineName. You have a title to defend next year.
We'll see if we do that or if we just pull an RC and Hobby and just disband and come together with other teammates. Yeah, last thing I just wanted to say still, if you enjoyed the game, if you want to start running it, only warning is the game is self-aware, and as you can see on the screen right now, be careful, because once you're hooked on the Ancient Cave, you're stuck in the city for a long time. We've all tried getting out. No one managed so far.
It's basically
Come join us.
California. You can check in anytime you like, but you can never leave.
Yeah, just to complete a round of thanks here, I guess. Also, shoutouts to all the commentators who have not been part of the tournament and helping out with commentary, as well as Eve with 3 underscores for making the Jelly Jam artwork. And of course, Eli again for putting everything together here. So, yep. It's been a blast.